Welcome to Rise Anyway, a space where we explore what it means to rebuild, to grow, and to start again. I'm Guy Christ. Every episode is a quiet reminder that no matter how far you've fallen, you can always rise anyway. Rise Anyway, Episode 3, Sylvester Stallone, writing his way out of poverty. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Rocky Balboa, 2006. It began not in the spotlight, but in the shadows of New York. A baby born with a crooked smile, the result of a birth injury that left half his face paralyzed. That smile, that slur, that asymmetry would one day become a global symbol of grit. But back then, it was just another reason for the world to underestimate him. Sylvester Stallone came into this world fighting, not for fame, but for a chance to be seen. He grew up in turbulence. Parents separated, schools changed, a boy who didn't fit in, a dreamer with a face people laughed at and a voice they couldn't quite understand. But behind those odds, something was forming, a quiet conviction that maybe life wouldn't hand him chances. So he'd have to write his own. By his mid-20s, the dream of acting was on life support. Auditions failed, rent overdue. He had no car, no savings, no safety net. And one cold winter night, when he had nowhere left to go, he slept in the Port Authority bus terminal. For days, that was the floor he had to hit before he decided he'd rise. He once said, it was either do that movie or rob someone. The movie, a small, humiliating softcore film, earned him $200, enough to eat, enough to live one more day. There was no glamour in those choices, just survival. And then came Butkus, his dog, his only real companion during those hungry years. When money ran out, he sold butt cheese for $40 just to survive. But when Rocky finally sold, Stallone found the buyer, bought him back for a small fortune, and put him in the movie. Because sometimes reclaiming what you've lost is the most human victory of all. March 24, 1975. A fight between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner, a journeyman boxer no one believed in. Wepner wasn't supposed to last around. But he did. He fought with heart. And for a few fleeting moments, the world saw an underdog defy the script. That fight lit a spark. Stallone went home and wrote for 3.5 days straight. No sleep, just coffee, hunger, and vision. He poured himself onto the page, all his rejection, all his loneliness, all his belief that dignity matters more than victory. He called it Rocky. When he finished, Hollywood was interested, but not in him. They loved the story, not the storyteller. They offered him hundreds of thousands of dollars to sell the script, but only if someone else played the lead. He had barely $100 left in the bank. His wife was pregnant. He was running out of time, but he said no. He wasn't protecting a script. He was protecting his identity. He said, if I sell this, I sell myself. And so he held the line. Eventually, two producers took a chance, Irwin Winkler and Robert Chartoff. They cut the budget, took a risk, and let him star in his own story. In just 28 days, Rocky was filmed. Small crew, tight schedule, zero safety net, but pure heart. When it hit theaters in 1976, audiences didn't just watch Rocky, they felt it. Because it wasn't just about boxing. It was about being seen. It was about every person who's ever been told they weren't enough. Before the applause, there were nights of hunger, humiliation, and hustle. But Stallone never broke. He once said, there is a kind of poverty that is not about money, it's about being unseen. And that's what Rocky was really about. The towel-stained gyms, the cracked mirrors. The man punching sides of beef in a freezer, not to impress, but to survive. It was a story of someone who just wanted to go the distance. And that's the line that still echoes across generations. I just want to go the distance, not win, not prove. Just go the distance. That's the theology of resilience. Rocky became the impossible dream realized. It won 3 Oscars, including Best Picture. And Stallone joined Orson Welles as one of the few ever nominated for both writing and acting in the same year. But he didn't let the fairy tale end there. He turned the success into a philosophy, one built on persistence, humility, and faith in effort. When he wrote the line decades later, "The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows," it wasn't a movie quote. It was his autobiography. Because he had lived it, the punches, the rejections, the nights without warmth. And he turned them into art. When you're at the end of your rope, when the dream feels buried beneath bills, fear, or fatigue, remember Sylvester Stallone. He didn't wait for someone to hand him a script. He wrote his own. He didn't chase the world's approval. He built a story the world couldn't ignore. So maybe the next time you feel invisible or behind or just worn out, don't quit. Pick up your pen. Write your way out. Even if no one's watching yet. Because the people who rise anyway aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Rocky Balboa. Thanks for listening to Rise Anyway. If today's story moved you, share it with someone who might need a reason to keep going. You can follow the show for new reflections every week, and remember, you can't change the past. But you can always change the path you're on.